What we're firstly dealing with is delayed grief. It's almost like in a situation where people are actually not able to get the closure because they don't have a body, they don't have something physically to look at, to sort of confirm psychologically that this is actually, this is the reality of what has happened. And then also the delay. So there's been sort of 4 months, really, more or less, of people sort of, wanting to sort of figure out exactly what's happening. And then to make matters sort of worse in some sense is the fact that we had this whole sort of procedure sort of last year, towards the end of last year, where most of the bodies were repatriated, and so those families sort of had closure. And this is almost like a second trauma, because they kind of have to go through this process again. And
yeah, because in November last year, they might have been hopeful that
yes.
Some of the 74 bodies coming back
yes.
are their relatives.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
yes.
they waited, and it was really in vain.
Yes.
And now that second trauma
yes.
is coming back now.
And also that second trauma is also happening in isolation in relation to, the bulk of the people that had the 74. And I think also there was a bit more of a ceremony then as opposed to perhaps now, for the remains that are coming.
Do you think it would be important for government also to make a ceremony again like they did for the 74, the way they were received and they were officially, taken care of for the 11 remains?
Sure. I think it will be important for government to have a ceremony for the people that are still waiting. However, the tricky part of it is, what ceremony do you have? Because you're almost repeating news for the second time, really, if you want to. And also this time around, it's bound to be even more traumatic, because there's a reality where there's a chance that some of the families are not going to have whole sort of like mortal remains of family members.
And
they
the
may
state
have
of the remains after nearly 5 months
may also not be fit for people to actually even view. So what kind of a ceremony do you have? I mean, psychologically what we do know is that there is a need for a quieter, a more intimate kind of support for people who are sort of faced with this, because the reality of what people may find may be quite gruesome.